Commission of January 9th, 2019 to order. Will you call the roll, please?
Mr. King.
Here.
Mr. Zabel.
Here.
Ms. Himeline.
Here.
Mr. Pratt.
Here.
Mr. Creed.
Here.
Our first item of business is to approve the minutes from our last meeting, which was on November 14th, 2018. It's been called to my attention that the copy that was emailed to us had an incorrect date on it, which will be corrected in the final copy of the minutes. So with that notation, are there any other additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve November 14th minutes as corrected.
Is there a second?
A second.
Motion and a second. Any other comments or corrections? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Creed.
Yes.
Mr. Pratt.
Yes.
Ms. Himeline.
Yes.
Mr. Zabel.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes.
Motion carries. There are no items of old business, and we have several items of new business. The first is sort of an organizational, because this is our first meeting of the 2019 year, to elect officers. So we first need to elect chairman, then a vice chairman, and then establish the 2019 meeting dates. So I will entertain nominations for the position of chair.
I'd like to nominate you for the chair.
And in that, I was going to ask, is everything okay like this?
I'm good like it is. I'm good.
Yeah, that'll save some time.
So our chair is, and who's the vice chair then, John? Is that right? Okay. So we'll do it the way we're supposed to do it. We will close nominations for the position of chair, the single nominee being Mary Himeline. And we'd had a motion, I believe a second from Mr. Sabo. So let's call the roll for that.
Okay, so Mr. Pratt first and Mr. Zabel second.
Right, yeah.
Mr. King.
Yes.
Mr. Zabel.
Yes.
Ms. Himeline.
Yes.
Mr. Pratt.
Yes.
Mr. Creed.
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen, very much. And then for vice chair, I think we have the same motions from Mr. Todd and Mr. Sabo to keep Mr. King as the vice chair.
Yes.
So we have a motion and a second. If you will call the roll, please.
Okay, Mr. Creed.
Yes.
Mr. Pratt.
Yes.
Ms. Himeline.
Yes.
Mr. Zabel.
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes. Thank you.
You guys do a good job.
We worked so hard at it, right? We also have to establish the 2019 meeting dates. You have a sheet of paper in front of you, tentative zoning committee meeting dates for 2019. It follows the same pattern, I believe, that we've always followed. So if those are acceptable, could we have a motion to approve those meeting dates?
I'll give you a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Does anybody have any problem with any of these dates? Knowing, obviously, if there is, we'll can always cancel and reschedule. But these will be the posted dates. Everybody can put them in their calendar. Okay, hearing none, call the roll.
Okay, Mr. King.
Yes.
Mr. Zabel.
Yes.
Ms. Himeline.
Yes.
Mr. Pratt.
Yes.
Mr. Creed.
Yes.
Motion carries. Now, we did have a question. As I was coming in, one of the staff members asked, and we've asked this a couple times in the past, but we'll ask again, is 6 o'clock still the best time for everybody, or nobody wants to move it earlier?
No.
6 o'clock is the best.
Well, I think even for like Belinsky, on the few days, it was tough for him from Toledo to get here.
So
Yeah.
we'll
so
keep
we
it
don't-
then at 6 o'clock.
I think so.
Yep, so,
And I've heard nothing negative from the public,
okay.
that it's too,
I know it means you guys have to once a
Too
month,
early.
when we have meetings, stick around a little bit, but, yeah, that's determined. Every now and then, we have to ask.
You're allowed to come in late these days?
So we have the dates, we have the time, we are set for next year.
overtime.
And then we have one item of new business, which is a zone change request from RA Suburban Residential to C2 General Commercial for properties located at 3128, 3122 Rowmaker Road. And I will let you walk us through that.
All right. The applicant is requesting a zone change from the RA to C2 for the .93 acres of property located at 3128 and 3122 Rowmaker. This is the former original Sylvania Bank building, then Society, then Key, which is vacant now. 3118 Rowmaker is a lot contiguous to the back of the building, and the approach to the drive-through was, and is in that area right behind it. I found my pointer today, so I really want to use it at least once. So I've been here for 6 months, I found it today. So this lot was previously rezoned because it was close to the bank and they needed to put the drive-through in there. The other 2 lots were not rezoned at that time in 1964, as the parking lot for the bank was a permitted use in a residential area when it was associated with the commercial development. Consolidation of the parcel zoning is going to assist with real estate transactions and financing and trying to move that property along and not have it be vacant. The surrounding area includes commercial uses along Central Avenue, including a used truck sales lot and a music store. Residential use does exist along the north and the east, and the property includes the subject parcels which have been commercial and a parking lot since the 1960s. In the Sylvania Township 2018 land use plan, these 2 parcels that are highlighted have been identified for general commercial use in the surrounding areas as corresponding general commercial and C1 neighborhood districts. So, based on the location of the property, in conjunction with other C2 general commercial zoning in the immediate area, the site's consistency with the the township land use plan, and the anticipated minimal adverse impacts on the surrounding properties, staff recommends approval of the zone change from RA suburban residential to C2 general commercial, and the Lucas County Plan Commission had recommended it as well. Zoning staff recommends approval of the requested zone change for the 2 parcels for the following reasons. The proposed change is compatible with the recommendation of the township land use plan. The proposed zone change is consistent with the neighboring zoning and uses, and the proposed zone change should have minimal, if any, unfavorable impact on the surrounding area.
So it all will be owned by the same person, the bank building?
Yeah, they want, that's parcel that goes up there, that will all be, that's all what they're
Be one
trying to
project.
sell. And they'll have it, yeah. Now, it was supposed to be, when I was doing some research on it, I'm sorry, I keep doing it. Originally, they were supposed to consolidate the lots, and you saw that too, didn't we? That was never done. So that would be something, I think, in the future with the sale that we would recommend, they combine the
So they're just trying to get these zones so they can sell it as
So
one
they can
piece
sell
of
it, they
property
can
for
get-
development?
Yeah, and they can,
But once we change the zoning, then there's no rule that they can't build on it, where right now it's just a conditional use, it has to stay a
it's
parking lot.
it's basically a non-conforming use at this point. I mean, it's zoned residential at the time.
Oh, but
It's
it's
kind of
not
big
no
grants.
longer, a parking lot is no longer a conditional use in a residential.
Right. So, that's sort of where they're
But
at.
if
But
you
yes,
should-
I mean, someone could put something other than the parking lot there.
Sure, if you demolish the bank.
If you demolish the bank
reform it.
building and so. But again, our land use plan does all along that area of Central Avenue.
Well, we talked about years ago, didn't we, John, extending the Central Avenue corridor? Does it end at Holland, Sylvania? Remember, we talked about going all the way to
I
Reynolds
mean,
Road?
the overlay.
The Central Avenue overlay?
Yeah, the overlay, because that's less than 400 feet, right, those lots? So once you get west of Holland, Sylvania, everything, both sides of the road for 400 feet is automatically C2. So remember, we talked about when I first came, hey, we should look at extending it to Reynolds and clean up that 400 foot. And,
I don't think it ever happened.
no, it never did, that's what I'm saying, no, this is gonna start being a problem along here as we go forward.
It was addressed in the big new land plan,
Use plan.
land use plan that they did. They
That's
addressed
what we
that.
brought it up, I think.
And we're implementing that in small chunks. And the overlay is part of that and is part of the recommendations.
Okay.
So they have worked some money into the budget for implementation in steps. I don't know that that's one of the priorities, because they also wanted to talk about putting an overlay down Pennsylvania,
Okay,
going north, but.
yeah, and that had a timeline on those phases.
So, yeah, so they are working on that, so. And I do anticipate Central Avenue overlay to get all the way down to Reynolds Road, so.
Well, otherwise, we're gonna be here
all the time.
Yes.
Is there anybody in our large audience who would like to address the zoning commission on this issue before we discuss? State your name and address.
Mike Kasepsky, 3142 Romacre Road. I live 2 houses, pretty much just a smidge out of that picture. But I'm worried that you're going to get a large building back there, and that's going to impact the people there with more traffic coming down. Ever since Key Bank has left, our road has been very quiet, and I'm afraid with whatever new building, probably another auto lot, you're gonna have people test driving up and down that street, and they love to go fast. I've worked for those people, and they just find a residential road and they zip down to see how fast that engine can go. There's too many kids, I believe. Now, I wouldn't be opposed if maybe we were to become a dead-end street, pretty much just taking out that street. That way, you can block it off, put a little trees up there, and then you're done. That prevents the traffic from coming down. I mean, we went to all that hassle of building the median so people weren't trying to get across and over. Why not just eliminate that road altogether? There's nothing there, it gives you a bigger section to even sell a little more property. And then, like I said, you build the trees up a little, a couple rows, and you get that nice little surrounding. Everything kind of stays peaceful.
Then you guys could still access your houses from the larger road to the east, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we could go,
around.
let's see, my things are all messed up. Which way's north? I'm trying to think.
Well, be north on that.
Yeah, you can go up north, and then you could take a left and get to Sylvania, or you could take a right and then come out where that new Walmart intersection is. So it'd still be completely accessible. But I think it would just cut down on traffic, and I'm afraid those dealerships, because I can hear now those trucks start occasionally, like when it snows, they'll come out and they'll start all of them to get the engines warm from the snow, and that's just super loud. Not to mention Richard's Music, who plays music all the time, so having the windows open in the summer, we have to listen to their music. And he's pretty nice, or whoever it is, I'll call occasionally and be like, you got it up really loud, and he'll turn it down, but that's still kind of annoying. He's like, well, it's for people to hear. I'm like, who's gonna hear driving down Central Avenue, some music playing? But, yes, so that is just what I'm afraid of.
So basically, you'd like just something to block the street off so people couldn't go down.
Right.
Okay, now, I believe that is beyond our capacity
That would be
to
beyond
recommend.
the scope of this board.
But that would, if a project then it comes for approval, right? Once it's, we rezone it, I mean, the project still has to come in for
For approval, and then the engineer and traffic studies. There's a whole lot of people that get involved.
So that's when that step would happen. And,
We wouldn't have any way of attaching the conditions to that or anything. That
And the
was-
state would gladly close that road, they don't like all those outlets, you know what I mean, but it.
yeah, they don't like all the.
They don't like, no, they would,
They gladly get rid of it, but it's not, because it's grandfathered in, they probably left it there, but.
But that would be something, we could certainly make a note.
absolutely, I already did.
Yeah, we can make a note, so as the projects would move forward through all the next stages, which would involve this board, the trustees acting, the property being sold, somebody finding a project, coming back for the engineering and all that kind of approval, that's where that kind of a thing could be considered.
Okay.
And just so you know, right now.
But you're on record.
Well, because that is a residential zone, there's no setbacks being enforced, meaning widths from a fence, there's no landscape buffer. Once we change it to C2, then if you read through our rules under C2, there will be new setbacks and probably a landscape buffer that would be enforced, so you guys it may improve your, especially that first lot. Because right now, I can see there's no buffer there, maybe a few old trees.
Yeah, there's
hanging over.
one tree and a privacy fence.
Yeah, but it's gonna be, 35 feet or something like that, and probably a landscape, and they could even then agree on with whoever purchases the property, probably a fence.
Okay.
because it'll be a commercial use.
Okay.
Where right now, they're kind of grandfathered in under, like she said, 1964.
Right.
With no buffers there. It was allowed to be a parking lot.
Got it.
And right now, under our new residential rules, it's not allowed, so that's why she's saying, just so you know, that it's non-conforming.
Okay.
So this kind of brings everything up to date, and then she, as our zoning administrator, can enforce our rules. Well, right now, there's no rules to enforce because it's technically not legal.
So eventually, where that little red square is going to be properties for businesses all the way down at some point.
Well, you don't know. I mean, that's the thing. Right now, people who don't own this want to just combine it so they can market it as a commercial. Somebody could come in there, redevelop the bank building, and keep it as a parking lot. Somebody could come in and tear down the bank building, completely reorient, what kind of building they put in.
So there'd be,
But it would be a commercial use.
right, there'd be no way to turn that back into residential and just tear down and put dirt up and see if someone comes and buys it for a house.
Probably not.
No? Okay. All right.
Yeah, the economics wouldn't be there to do it that way.
Is there anybody else who would like to address? Are you done with your comments, sir?
I am, thank you.
Well, thank you for coming. Some things to think about. Any other questions or comments from the members of the zoning commission? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the zone change request from RA to C2 for the properties on Romaker?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Sable?
Yes.
Ms. Himelline?
Yes.
Mr. Cap?
Yes.
Mr. Creedy?
Yes.
Motion carries. There are no other items of old business, although I would ask the members of the zoning commission to stay for a minute after we have adjourned, got a couple of things to touch base with. Will we have a meeting in February? Do we know that?
We do.
So we should plan on being here in February?
Yes.
And with that in mind, if I could have a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Creedy?
Yes.
Mr. Cap?
Yes.
Ms. Himelline?
Yes.
Mr. Sable?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Okay, now, if you want to turn off our recording?